Hello my friends, Paul here in the RoJoBe Music Workshop, and welcome to my next video, which is mostly about banjoleles. As I mentioned in my previous video, which was about this new camera and tripod, I hadn't uploaded any videos for about a month up until that stage, and there's a number of reasons for that. Been very busy with the school, getting the official license sorted out, plus all the physical work, doors, windows, cupboards and shelving, all sorts of things. And to be honest, I was really fed up with my other cameras. I mean, they were okay, they were doing the job, but you know, I just thought it was time to have an upgrade, so that's done. And because I was so fed up with those cameras, I was fed up with using them, making videos. And apart from what I'm going to be talking about today, I haven't been doing any projects really since the last one, which was, I can't even remember. No, can't remember what it was. But I have been doing a lot of work on some of my banjoleles and other instruments, and I've also been building some as well. Now, the reason I haven't recorded any of that is, first of all, it was quite a long process, probably a couple of months or so. A lot of the work was very repetitive, very long, time consuming and fiddly, and a lot of it not that interesting to watch. I probably should have recorded some of it, to be honest, but I just wanted to get on with it because I've done a lot of work, which I'll explain in a moment. But you know, I didn't record any of it because it was a long process and I really needed to concentrate and get on with the work. Okay, I probably should have recorded some of it, but I didn't, so there it is. So I'm going to run you through now what I've been doing over the past couple of months or so. So I'm just going to take the camera off the tripod and show you what I've been doing. So first of all, let's have a look at all of these instruments along here. Banjolele, 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 banjo, 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 sanshin and shamisen. Right, so there are 13 instruments along here, 13 of them, and with the exception of that banjo and those two banjoleles on the end, I've been working on all of these. So I've either built, rebuilt or modified all of these instruments, as I said, apart from the banjo there, the factory banjo, and those two banjoleles on the end. So I've built, rebuilt or modified all but 3 of those instruments. So let me just pop the camera back on the stand. 1 second. Okay, I'm going to plug the microphone in as well. Alright, just bear with me a second. Okay, so I've now plugged the microphone in, got the camera back on the tripod. Okay, so let me start to run through what I've been doing over the past couple of months. So although, you know, this video is predominantly about banjoleles, there's a couple of other things I did as well. Firstly, the Japanese sanshin and the shamisen. Now, for this project, you will need to refer back to my video, okay, RoJoBe Music Japanese Sanshin and Shamisen build project. and there are 14 videos on this one. I made these quite a while back, 2 or 3 years ago at least. And yeah, for the original video series on this project, it's RoJoBe Music Japanese Sanshin and Shamisen build project. 14 videos in all. Now, I know what I should be doing is putting links to these videos, you know, on one corner of the screen, but I don't do the technical stuff. I don't even edit my videos, so I'm doing it old school on a piece of paper and just showing it to the camera. So when I built these two instruments, the tops I originally made from wood. Well, I've now changed that. These tops are skin and they're held on with brass studs all the way around. It was quite a difficult job to do this actually, so I removed the wooden top and replaced it with a goat skin top, and this one I've actually I've kind of dyed it a bit of a darker colour so it matches, you know, the rest of it. And as you can see, these brass studs, I've also got them on all of the corners. Basically, when I was when I'd taken the top off of this, the wooden top, and I started to stretch this over, the whole thing fell apart. So I had to put it all back together, and then I put brass studs in all of the corners as well to strengthen it. And another thing I did is these were originally open backed. Well, I put a panel on the back with Japanese style lattice pattern in them. And yeah, I mean, it adds a little bit of strength. They're about 2 to 3 millimeters thick, and they look really nice. They still let the sound out really good. So, you know, you can still get the sound really, really good on these. But it's much more authentic with the skin on. Looks a lot better, sounds a lot better, feels a lot better, and as I said, it's just more authentic to the original design. Actually, I think most of them are made with skin on both sides, or rather front and back. Well, I haven't done that. I've put skin on the front or the top, and this lattice design pattern on the back, laser cut out of a piece of, I think it's 2.5 mil thick ply. And they look a lot better, they sound a lot better, they're much more authentic. A little bit out of tune, but these are tuned to CFC. So that's the Sanshin, and Shamisen I did exactly the same thing, but with this one I didn't dye the skin, I left it the natural colour, and I think it's actually quite a nice contrast against the wood. And this one again, I've also put the laser engraved lattice panel on the back, exactly the same thing. And you know, I managed to get really good tension on these, despite not using, you know, like on a banjo where you've got a tension hoop and the hooks to pull it all down. I, you know, literally did this by hand. I stretched it over by hand and put these brass studs in all the way around. And I was surprised actually at just how good a tension they ended up with. Oh, hold on. So yeah, they ended up really, really nice. And the Sanshin, I've got this homemade wooden bridge on there, which works really well. But for this Shamisen, I've got this bridge on here, which is actually off of my banjo, the banjo that I bought and converted to an Irish tenor banjo. So this is the original bridge off of that, and this is made of bamboo. And again, it looks a little bit more authentic than the wooden ones that I've made. So, Japanese Sanshin and Shamisen build project. If you want to look at the original build on this project, as I said, I built these quite a long time ago, probably 3 years ago. I'm really surprised they haven't sold yet, but I suppose if I was in Japan they might have done. But anyway, they look and sound a lot better with this skin top rather than the wood, and obviously it's more authentic as well. So I think they were the ones I did first out of all of these. I think, I'm not sure, I think I did, yeah. So that's those. Now, moving on to the banjoleles. Now, some of you may not know what a banjolele is. Well, it's pretty simple, really. It's a banjo and a ukulele. If a banjo and a ukulele got together and had a baby, one second, this is what it would be like. So this, I'll come to this one, but this is a tenor with an 8-inch pot, and so a banjolele is, the body is banjo and the neck is ukulele, and it has ukulele strings and is strung, is tuned to ukulele tuning, which is G, C, E, A. But you still get the banjo sound. You get that banjo twang because it's a banjo body, but it's a ukulele neck. So very simple, really. And in my opinion, whoever came up with the conception of a banjolele, a banjo / ukulele, was a freaking genius, because it's just, I mean, I love banjos and I love ukuleles. Partly because both of them are fairly easy to learn to play. But the very first instrument I ever had was a banjo. I don't still have that model anymore. I just bought a really, really cheap open back banjo to get me started. But that's how all of this whole thing started for me, probably at least 30 years ago. I decided, for some reason, I wanted to learn to play the banjo, so I bought one and started to learn to play it. Like I said, 30 plus years ago. And all of this, everything since then is kind of come from there. So, let's talk about the banjoleles. Okay. Actually, we'll come back to this one. Wait a minute, 1 second. Yeah, so this one I've had for quite a long time, and although it was a fake, I didn't know that when I bought it. It's a, hold on. It's a Kiwi banjo uke made by a company called Sidekick. They don't actually make these ones anymore, but this is a specific design headstock to Sidekick banjoleles. Very unique, and it turned out that I found out after I bought this, it was a copy, cheap Chinese copy. So, you know, the neck and everything was absolutely perfect, and it's got a through neck, which I really like. But the body, the tension ring and all the hooks were absolutely rubbish. So it didn't play very well. So quite a while back, I rebuilt this, and for that original video series, you'll need to find RoJoBe Music Kiwi Banjolele Refurb. It's only 4 videos, but it's the RoJoBe Music Kiwi Banjolele Refurb. And yeah, so I completely rebuilt it, and it was much better after I'd rebuilt it. So originally it had 6 banjo hooks. It had 3 this side and 3 this side. It was just not good enough, and you couldn't get enough tension on the skin, which actually was a synthetic one. Just couldn't get the tension on it, and it was hopeless. So I took it all apart, and I filled in all the holes where the hooks were, and I drilled new ones and put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 So there was originally 6 hooks, it's now got 12, 6 each side, and completely rebuilt it. Now, you will see in that video series, the RoJoBe Music Kiwi Banjolele Refurb video series, it doesn't look the same as this because I've rebuilt it again since then. So when I rebuilt it, it had the synthetic top on it, but now I've changed that out for a real goat skin top. And again, got really good tension, really good tone and volume, and it turned out amazing. I mean, when I rebuilt it the first time, it was probably 10 times better than it was originally anyway. But since doing it again with this skin, it's at least twice as good again than it was the first time round. So I've rebuilt this at least twice. It might have been 3 times, but I know it's 100%. I've rebuilt it twice, and I'm really, really happy with this now. And I've got this with a low G. Little bit out of tune at the moment. So yeah, I am over the moon with this. Really, really happy. So, you know, changing the synthetic skin out for a real skin made a huge difference, and yeah, really, really happy with that. Now, this one is the last one that I finished. I only literally finished this in the last couple of days. So yeah, that one I've just showed you, by the way, it's a tenor scale neck with an 8-inch pot. Now this one, as I said, this is the one I've just most recently finished, and one of the nicest ones, I have to be honest. So this is also a tenor scale, but it's with a 10-inch pot. And this one, if you want to see, oh no, I don't have videos on it. For some reason I didn't make videos on this one, I don't know why. But this one again also had a wooden top. I made a lot of the instruments with wooden tops because it's a lot easier, a lot quicker. It's just laziness really. And they sound okay, but they just don't sound good enough. So all of the ones that I made with wooden tops, including this one, I've changed them out for a real goat skin top. So I've also got this one strung with a low G. Now, as I said, this was the last one that I literally finished this a couple of days ago. And it's tenor scale with a 10-inch pot. And this tension ring is homemade. So I didn't have any steel tension rings, 10-inch. I tried to buy one, and I just couldn't find them anywhere. So in the end, I made one. Now, actually, let me just grab this. So I made the tension hoop for this out of one of these. It's bamboo, a bamboo ring, which is 10-inch. So you can see it's the right size for that. Now, as I said, it's made of bamboo, but it's only, what's that, about 3 or 4 mil thick. Let's just have a quick look with a ruler. So the thickness is about 3.5 mil, 3.5 millimeters thick, and it's only bamboo. And it just fitted over the bowl of this banjolele. But obviously with the skin on there, which goes across and then down and then round a steel hoop and then back up and under this, so 2 layers of skin between this and the rim. It was really, really tight, but I managed to get it on in the end. And you know, I started to tension all of the hooks all the way around in the, you know, the way you're supposed to, like, you know, do one and then the opposite one, then the opposite, then opposite, like when you're tightening wheel nuts on a car, for example, or, you know, head studs, that kind of thing. And I was starting to get the tension up. And then this isn't obviously the original one, but this ring broke. There is a join. I don't know how well you can see that join there. It's a diagonal join, and that's how these things are made. and it gave way there and broke in half. So I took it all back apart again, and then I started to think, how am I going to do this? And I searched again to try and find a 10-inch steel tension ring, and I just couldn't find them anywhere. I mean, if I was in the US or the UK, I'd find it no problem at all. But actually, 10-inch is not a common size for banjos or banjoleles. They're usually either 8-inch for the banjolele or 11-inch for the full-size banjo. So the 10-inch isn't as common. They're about, but then they're not as common. So I thought, no, I can't find one. What should I do? I'll try and buy a piece of flat metal bar and you know, turn it into a ring. But then I thought, how do I join it? It's going to have to be welded, and I don't have a welder for it to be strong enough. And I thought, no, that's not going to work. So I searched for just steel rings or steel hoops, and you know, I just couldn't find one the right size. And then I thought, what about 10-inch water pipe, you know, like sewage pipe or mains water. And I mean, because although they're plastic, the wall on them, especially the 10-inch, they're quite thick. I thought that might work, and I managed to find some of that online, and I put it in my cart. Didn't actually buy it because I thought, I don't know, will it be strong enough? I mean, you know, even though it's thick walled, if it's only sort of 10 mil wide when I've cut it, it's going to be too flexible, I thought. So I thought, I'll leave that for now. And then I was starting to find the same thing, but in steel. I thought, well, that's going to be perfect. But I could only find them in, you know, like minimum sort of 12 inches long or 30 centimeters long, a tube, basically. And I don't really have the right equipment, tools or equipment, to be able to cut an accurate slice of that off. I mean, I could do it, you know, with maybe angle grinder, or hacksaw would take like 20 years. So I thought, you know, it's doable. It wouldn't be easy and it wouldn't be quick, but it's doable. So I put that on the back burner, and then I came back to thinking about these, and I thought, why don't I just double layer it? Because I've got loads of these. I've got 6-inch, 4, 6, 8, 10 and 12. So I thought, why don't I double layer it? So I got another 10-inch one like this, and then I got a 12-inch one and cut it there, and then sort of bent it around the 10-inch, and then cut off the excess and glued it all together. And obviously double the thickness, double the strength. So that's what this is. It's basically two of these, one outside the other. So a 10-inch one and then a 12-inch one cut down and glued on the outside of it. And then covered the whole thing in veneer, the same veneer as is on the banjo body itself. So covered the whole thing in veneer. And so obviously the inner diameter was the same as the original one, so it was still very, very tight. But because it was double thickness, it was a lot less flexible. So it made it even harder to get back on here with the skin. But again, I managed to get it on. It was really difficult, but I got it on and tensioned it all down, and it turned out perfect. It's a really thick, chunky tension hoop, but I've kind of, you know, disguised that a little bit by you know, covering it in the veneer the same as the body, so it kind of blends in a bit and it looks really good. And when I put the tailpiece on, because of the, you know, the way this ring is, I had to put a spacer under here to raise this up a bit. And I've got, you know, another one of these brackets with a screw and a nut going through to hold all that together. And incidentally, these brackets are not original banjo bits. These are actually shelf brackets for glass shelves, and they came with a little, you know, like a rubber sucker pad, you know, to go on the glass shelf. But because the way these are designed, they're not like a shelf bracket that's just they've got kind of a gusset in there. It's sort of a curved gusset, so they're pretty strong. So that's what I used for this, and it worked really, really well. And I've also got an armrest on there as well. This also is handmade, and the way I did this was I got a shelf bracket. I don't know if you're going to see that in there. I got a shelf bracket and kind of straightened it out so it still had the kink in the middle, which goes behind this tension hook, and a hole in each end which these screws go into with a nut on the end of it. I'm not sure if you can see that or under there or not, but anyway, that's how I fitted that on. And also, yeah, this back panel that I put back on in the shape of a tree, really, really nice. And custom made bridge. I mean, it's made out of a banjo bridge, but I had to sort of modify it for this. So, as I said, this was the last one that I worked on, and it took me a long time because, this bit, the tension hook bit, it took me a long time to do this. And as I said, again, originally this had a wooden top. It's now got a goatskin top. And the tension is amazing, really, really good. And as I said, it's a 10-inch pot with a tenor scale neck on it. Now, so as I said, I finished this a couple of days ago, and I wasn't that happy with it. Once I got it all strung up and, got the bridge on, and I mean, it's not quite up to pitch at the moment. It's gone a little bit out of tune, but it's more or less there. For a 10-inch pot on a tenor scale, it's not that great a sound. Now, the reason for that is, although this is a tenor neck, just move the bridge, it's short, and it actually ends here at the 12th fret. So, it's a shorter neck. It is tenor scale, but it's short. And, what it means is that I've only got 12 frets, which for an instrument like this isn't enough. You don't really have the versatility. You just basically have one octave, which is not really enough. I mean, most ukuleles have got at least, well, apart from the cheap sopranos, most of them have got at least 15 frets, some of them up to 17, even 19. So this doesn't have enough frets, and because the neck is short, so effectively the 12th fret being closer to the body, it's meant that the bridge is really quite close to the tailpiece, and that is why it's not got great tone or volume, because it's too close to the edge here. It needs to be more sort of up here, not in the middle, but in the middle of the lower half, if you like, not this close to the tailpiece. So because of that, it's lost quite a bit of its potential tone and volume and sustain. It's not, I mean, I spent a long time on this. It's really nicely made, but this neck is no good. It's too short. So why I didn't think of it at the time of building it, I don't know, because I do have another tenor neck here. It's off of one of my older builds. You see it's all blue. I'm gonna have to scrape that off. This is also a tenor neck, but you can't actually see it because at the moment I've got an extension block gluing onto the end of that so that it's almost to the edge of the fretboard. But I think this is, what's it? Hold on, I'll tell you in a second how many frets. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, there's 18 frets on here. I probably won't use all of those, but at least, I'll probably use 17 frets on this by the time that I've glued this extension block on and got it all shaped and everything, and also, the curve in the underside to match the body. I'm going to end up with a minimum of 17 frets, probably 17 or 18, I'm guessing. So this is going to stand higher on the body. So I'm going to have extra frets, and also this bridge is going to be able to move up that way. So I'll get much better volume, tone and sustain from that. So I am going to be, even though I spent a long time on this, rebuilding it, I'm going to have to take the neck off and put this one on. And that's quite a bit of work, because the biggest problem is when you put it on a normal ukulele, the top of the body is usually flat. Well, on a banjolele, it isn't, it's round. So I've got to shape the end of this to match that. And that's the most difficult part, because you know, you've got to get the right curve, basically a 10-inch radius curve, and it's got to be, you know, straight. So if you have it that way or that way, obviously the neck is going to be out of alignment. So you've got to make sure it's I'm going to say, okay, perpendicular. Let's say perpendicular, but you've got to get the right curve. It's got to be perpendicular so that the neck doesn't tilt this way, but you've also got to get enough angle to tilt the neck back a little bit. So you know, there's two planes you've got to worry about, plus, you know, a curve. It's quite difficult to do. I don't have machinery that can help me with that. If I had you know, a sanding wheel that was 10-inch that I could put on one of my machines, then it would be much easier. But I have to do them by hand, so it's quite difficult. But I'll get it done. I mean, I've done quite a few in the last few weeks. Right, how are we doing for time? Not that it matters. God, that's half an hour already. Don't I waffle? Okay, so that's those ones. Let me see. Just quickly, this was the Irish tenor banjo that I recently rebuilt, I suppose. And again, if you want to see the original series on this, it's RoJoBe Music Irish Tenor Build Project. And there are 10 videos on this one. RoJoBe Music Irish Tenor Banjo Project. And since I made those videos, I've redone the skin, because originally the skin I used was the original skin, and it wasn't long enough to put or it wasn't big enough to put the steel bar underneath it. So it was just held on by friction, really, and it didn't work. It ended up going a bit saggy. So I got another skin and did it again properly, with the tension hook, the tension hooks, and the bar underneath there, and just doing that, it sustains forever. So that, yeah, I am really happy with that. And so that's that one. And as I said, the first instrument I ever had was a banjo. Just broken one of my instruments. Never mind, I'll come back to that later. I'll just show you quickly. Oops, that's the Sanchez, just fallen over and literally smashed to pieces. Okay, there's another project I've got to do. I'll probably actually make a video on that. These things happen. Yeah, so the first instrument I ever had was a banjo. And this is the one I have now, and I've had this one for probably 20 years. And this is a 5-string banjo. So these banjos are predominantly used for what's called Scruggs style playing, named after Earl Scruggs, who invented the style. And it's basically mostly finger picking, rolls. And I like the banjo so much, I decided to make myself another one, which is this one. So this one is completely handmade. Completely handmade. And again, when I built this, I had a wooden top on it, and again I've changed it out for a skin top. And this one also is just stretched over by hand and held in with these studs, brass studs, and the tension ended up really good. And I've got this strung with nylon strings, and I've got a cutaway here because I made this one, although it is also a 5-string, I made this one to play or learn to play claw hammer style. So my original 5-string is for scrug style, this one is for claw hammer style, and the Irish tenor banjo is basically played via plectrum. So not really chords as such. Banjos, I mean, yes, you do play chords on them, but not strumming like a guitar or a ukulele. So the 5-string is for scrug style, the handmade one is for claw hammer style, and the Irish tenor is for plectrum style. So, next. So those are all the, basically the, sorry, yeah. So if you want to see the original on that one, it's RoJoBe Music 5-string banjo build project. There are 13 videos on that. RoJoBe Music 5-string banjo build. Okay, so that's all of the rebuilds and modifications that I've done. Now, I've also built 4 banjoleles. I've built 4 more. So, let's start with these 2. So this one is soprano scale with an 8-inch bowl, and it's got a synthetic top. So this is actually the original top that came on the Kiwi banjo. So I've got it on this one now, and as I said, this one's completely handmade. It's quite a thin bowl on this, and you know, so single layer thick, but I've got all the proper hooks and tension hoop on it, and actually there's no tension hoop on this. These hooks are just hooked directly onto the rim that is built onto the skin, and that works pretty well too. Okay, so there's that one that I built completely from scratch, and it's fairly simple, this one. And this neck, actually, no, wait a minute, this one, yeah. This one is one that I rebuilt. Sorry, I didn't build this one from scratch. Well, I did originally, but this one is RoJoBe Music Banjolele Build Project. 8 videos. RoJoBe Music Banjolele Build Project. And so I built this one quite a while ago, and I've just finished rebuilding it. So when you see those videos, it will look nothing like this, apart from the neck. The neck is the same, but the body is completely different. So I've rebuilt this one. So I urge you to watch the original video on this one. RoJoBe Music, RoJoBe Music, RoJoBe Music Banjolele Build Project. I urge you to watch the original videos on this one, because I've just recently rebuilt it, and it looks nothing like it did originally. So check it out. So there's that one. Now this one I did build just recently, and it's kind of the same thing. It's another soprano. It's another 8-inch pot, but this one has the skin held on with the studs, not with the hooks. But really, really good tension. It's a little bit quieter, but not too quiet. And yeah, I really, really like this one. Again, it's a simple build. It's got an extended neck so that you get the good bridge position. And yeah, it's I built it as simply as possible, but it's really, really nice. I really like this one. So again, skin top. Okay, so 2 more. So there's this one, which, hold on, 1 minute, sorry. Actually, let's look at this one first. So those last 2 I just shown you were sopranos. This one is a concert scale neck, still an 8-inch bowl. It's all in black, even the top. It's a synthetic top on this one. And just like the other one with a synthetic top, I've got no tension hoop on there. The hooks are directly onto basically the edge of the top, which is built on them already. You should really use a tension hoop, but I found you don't need to. So this one is all in black neck and headstock, black tuner buttons, black body, black top. So again, really, really nice. And again, an extended neck. So yeah, all in black and chrome actually. And that one is, did I say tenor or concert? This is a concert scale with an 8-inch bowl. Okay, and the last one is this one, which is a tenor scale, but on an 8-inch pot, and a dyed skin. I dyed the skin on this one, and nice good tension. With this one has a proper steel tension hoop. I managed to buy a couple of these, and again all the proper hooks on there, but again the glass shelf brackets here. Another custom made bridge, still out of a banjo bridge, but custom made. Lots of hardware. This one's got quite a bit of weight to it because actually the body on this, well, you can see the thickness here, which goes up about halfway, because that's basically I put an extra piece in there to strengthen that for putting these brackets on here. But so here it's double thickness, but the rest of it, sort of up this part, isn't. But I've also got another hoop inside there, so that's double thickness right at the top and at the bottom here, but you know, the middle section is a bit thinner, but there's quite a bit of weight to that. And yeah, another one I'm really, really happy with. So, is that it? I think it is. So yeah, all in all, you know, a lot of work has been done. Most of it, in the end, pretty successful. 1 second. And then, in my haste for, you know, showing everything, I end up knocking something over and causing this kind of destruction. So yeah, it fell over onto the headstock and it completely exploded. So I'm going to have to rebuild that. Actually, not that difficult. Basically just a case of gluing it all back together, but I've got to try and think of a way of strengthening it. So that's probably going to be my next project. Exactly when that'll be, I'm not too sure yet. So that's what I've been doing over the past couple of months. I've been building, rebuilding and modifying banjoleles, banjos, sanshin and shamisen, but mostly the banjoleles, and it's been quite, like I said, quite a long process. And that's one of the reasons I didn't film it. It's been over a couple of months or so, maybe 2 or 3 months. A long process, a lot of it repetitive and a lot of it time consuming and fiddly. I mean, it's all the little jobs that take the time, really. And the gluing and the you know, staining or painting, all that kind of thing. Those are what take the time. So I've made quite a lot of progress, and as you've just seen, I've got to do a little bit more work. But that's not going to be a big problem, and I'm not going to do that now because I've still got other work to do in the school. So hope you enjoyed this video, which is basically an upgrade and update on banjoleles predominantly, but you know, a couple of other instruments as well. And it's looking as though my next project is going to be rebuilding the headstock on a handmade Japanese sanshin. So that should be fun. Hope you're looking forward to that. I certainly am. In the meantime, please look after yourselves, look after each other. We will see you soon. Peace out.